Welcome to the Global Fashion Summit, Copenhagen Edition 2025, where catwalks meet climate action, and the world's most powerful fashion houses stand face to face with their future. Close-up of fashion leaders, royal guests, climate activists, and designers arriving at the Royal Danish Theatre in glittering style. Every year, the fashion industry produces billions of garments. Yet, it's also responsible for around 10% of global carbon emissions. That's more than all international flights and maritime shipping combined. But in 2025, one city has once again taken center stage to change that narrative. Copenhagen, Denmark, a city known for minimalism, royalty, and climate leadership, and now, once again, it's become the capital of ethical fashion and sustainable innovation. At the heart of it all, the Global Fashion Summit, Copenhagen Edition 2025, the largest, most influential sustainability event in the fashion industry. This isn't just a conference. It's a climate intervention in couture. This year's summit shattered expectations, welcoming more than 2,000 attendees from over 60 countries, including CEOs of major brands like Gucci, H&M, Patagonia, and LVMH, but also climate scientists, youth activists, indigenous leaders, and royalty. And what makes 2025 so different? Because fashion is at a tipping point. From wars disrupting supply chains, to climate disasters destroying cotton harvests, to consumers demanding more than trends. The fashion world is under pressure like never before. And this summit, it's where those pressures meet solutions. The summit opened with a dramatic performance curated by Nordic designers, blending recycled materials with augmented reality fashion, a runway show with a conscience. Models walked to the rhythm of thunder and storm soundscapes, symbolizing nature's warning sirens. And then the curtain lifted, literally. Queen Mary of Denmark, dressed in a re-worn silk gown designed by a Danish upcycling label, stepped forward and stunned the audience with a royal message. Fashion must not cost the earth. Our creativity must match our conscience. Her words echoed through the Royal Danish Theatre like a call to arms. The summit tackled four burning issues with raw honesty. Decarbonization of fashion supply chains, worker rights in the post-pandemic economy, circular fashion models for digital innovation in sustainable fashion. No more greenwashing, no more vague promises. This year, brands were forced to show receipts. And leading that charge was the Global Fashion Agenda, the summit's nonprofit organizing force, who revealed a new fashion transparency index, rating top brands not by style but by truth. In an unprecedented moment, activists from Asia, Latin America, and Africa took the stage and directly challenged major Western fashion CEOs. We live where your garments are made. We breathe the toxic air. Our rivers are poisoned. Are you ready to fix that, or just profit from it? The audience fell into tense silence. And then applause erupted. This wasn't just corporate PR. This was fashion's reckoning. From 3D weaving machines that eliminate textile waste, to algae-based dyes that need no water, to blockchain systems that track every garment from seed to shelf. The summit showcased a future where fashion is smart, beautiful, and sustainable. But perhaps the most jaw-dropping reveal, a startup from Finland unveiled a biodegradable sneaker that can dissolve in soil within 40 days, leaving behind no trace but nutrients for the earth. Yes, the future of fashion might be compostable. This year, Gen Z didn't just watch from the audience. They led panels, moderated debates, and demanded change. One 18-year-old activist from Bangladesh brought the crowd to tears, recounting how her older sister died in the 2013 Rana Plaza factory collapse, and how her dream is to one day build fashion factories where no worker fears death. Her message: you want ethical fashion? Start by saving our lives. The summit wasn't short of star power. But nothing rivaled the moment Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden joined Queen Mary of Denmark for a landmark panel titled, Fashion Leadership in the Age of Climate Collapse. Wearing reworked archival couture from royal wardrobes, both royals spoke powerfully about the symbolism of re-wearing outfits, shattering old taboos of never repeating dresses. If the world's wealthiest women can wear something twice, so can the fashion industry. Their message resonated. Sustainability is not just a trend, it's a responsibility. One of the most unforgettable moments came when famed designer Luca Morelli, known for dressing A-list celebrities, took the stage and said, "I built a brand on fantasy. But that fantasy polluted rivers, used underpaid labor, and encouraged overconsumption. I'm here to say, I was part of the problem. But I'm staying to be part of the solution. Gasps echoed through the auditorium. His new line, 100% biodegradable, zero plastic, no overstock, and locally made. He called it Redemption Couture. The summit ended with a fierce debate. Are fashion's promises enough? Can billion-dollar brands change in time? Or is the industry simply repackaging old habits in new green packaging? One thing's for sure. The Global Fashion Summit, Copenhagen Edition 2025 has lit a fire the industry can't ignore. Fashion is at a crossroads. It can choose extinction or evolution, greenwashing or genuine action, empty runways or runways that regenerate the planet. And as the spotlight fades on Copenhagen, one question burns brighter than ever. Will fashion finally walk the walk? While the world watched dazzling panels and inspiring speeches on stage, a very different kind of summit was unfolding behind closed doors. No cameras, no press releases, just CEOs, investors, policy makers, and the future of fashion being decided over espresso and encrypted agendas. It's called the Copenhagen CEO Roundtable, and it's the industry's most secretive negotiation hub. Inside these walls, billions were at stake, reputations were on the line, and for the first time ever, a major leak from inside those rooms reached us. What did it reveal? A fashion civil war, between legacy powerhouses clinging to profit and rising disruptors demanding planetary accountability. At the heart of the roundtable was a dramatic pitch. A $2 billion sustainable innovation fund, co-financed by 5 of the world's largest apparel giants. Its mission: to bankroll carbon-free dyeing technology, regenerative farming for cotton, and infrastructure to recycle textile waste at scale. On paper, it sounded historic. But behind the scenes, several CEOs were caught pushing back against the terms, insisting the fund shouldn't require them to publicly disclose where their clothes are made. We can't risk shareholder panic. Transparency is good, until it affects profit margins, one executive reportedly said, according to leaked notes. That quote quickly went viral, and sparked public outrage. Fashion lovers and climate advocates took to social media with hashtags like "Walk the Talk," "Greenwashing is Dead," hashtag "Name Your Factories." Suddenly, the most high-profile summit in fashion was facing a public relations inferno. In an exclusive interview, we spoke anonymously with a sustainability director from a top 10 fashion conglomerate, someone inside the summit who's worked in the industry for 15 years. Anonymous voice distorted. The truth is, many brands still see sustainability as a side project, not a survival strategy. This summit was supposed to change that. But, when it came time to sign binding agreements, a lot of them flinched. She revealed that at least 3 major labels lobbied behind the scenes to soften language in the summit's closing declaration, trying to remove terms like mandatory labor rights audits and public emissions tracking. Why? Because once the public sees how bad it is, they'll demand change. And change means cost. But not everyone was backing down. Independent designers, sustainable pioneers, and even some major labels stood their ground. In a surprise announcement, Stella McCartney, Gabriella Hearst, and Marine Serre joined forces to launch the Fair Fabric Pact. This groundbreaking initiative commits signatories to 100% transparent supply chains, a living wage for all garment workers, banned use of virgin polyester by 2030, third-party environmental audits every 6 months. And they weren't alone. Over 200 brands, from luxury to streetwear, signed on, turning the pact into the most radical reform document fashion has ever seen. The tension inside the summit reached a boiling point, and then something unexpected happened. Queen Mary of Denmark, who had already delivered the summit's opening speech, returned for an unannounced appearance during the roundtable's second day. Dressed in a simple navy blue suit made entirely of deadstock wool, she walked into the private session, and spoke directly to the executives in the room. The public is watching. This summit is not a branding opportunity, it's a moral crossroads. And if royalty can be held accountable, so can corporations. The room reportedly fell silent. One source inside said her remarks were a masterclass in diplomacy, strength, and truth. By the next morning, 2 CEOs who had initially refused to sign the Fair Fabric Pact changed their minds. While drama unfolded upstairs, downstairs, the Tech and Innovation Pavilion was buzzing with breakthroughs. Let's take a look at some of the mind-blowing fashion innovations showcased. Bio-fabricated leather. Created in labs using yeast cells, this cruelty-free material has the texture of calfskin but none of the environmental guilt. Climate-responsive fabric. Invented by a Dutch startup, this textile changes color based on UV exposure and temperature, reducing the need for dyes. Robotic repair stations. AI-powered machines that fix clothing tears in seconds, aiming to make mending cool again. Carbon-negative sneakers. Developed using algae foam, cork soles, and hemp uppers, these shoes literally remove CO from the atmosphere. The future of fashion isn't just beautiful. It's alive, responsive, and healing the planet. One of the most powerful moments of the summit didn't come from a European designer or American investor, it came from Indigenous elders. Leaders from the Mapuche Nation, Chile, Sami communities, Scandinavia, and First Nations from Canada gathered for a panel titled, "We Were Sustainable Before You Were Born." Their message was clear. Sustainability isn't new. You just forgot. We remember how to live with the earth, not off of it. They criticized the industry's obsession with innovation, when the answers to sustainability often lie in ancient textile traditions, plant-based dyes, handwoven techniques, local material sourcing, seasonal production. In an emotional closing, one Sami elder said, "Stop asking how to save the earth through technology. Start asking your grandmother how she made clothes." Outside the theater, a massive youth protest filled the streets. Thousands of students, climate warriors, and next-gen fashion lovers gathered with signs that read, "Dead planet equals deadline. No clothes on a dead body. Make fashion fair." They weren't there to disrupt, they were there to demand. And demand they did. A delegation of youth protesters was invited into the summit for an emergency session, where they presented a 10-point fashion justice manifesto. The demands included legal accountability for fashion waste dumped in the global south, reparations for exploited garment workers, a global carbon tax on fast fashion exports, mandatory resale and repair services for every fashion brand, and perhaps the most radical, every brand over $100 million in annual revenue must include a youth advisory board with voting power on sustainability decisions. As the summit neared its end, the closing keynote came from none other than Christiana Figueres, former UN climate chief and one of the architects of the Paris Agreement. She didn't mince words. Fashion isn't just about style. It's about survival. You can't claim creativity if your business model depends on destruction. She challenged every brand present to align with the 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming target, or step aside. The runway to climate collapse is short. You can walk forward into courage, or strut blindly into extinction. So, what did Global Fashion Summit, Copenhagen Edition 2025 really achieve? A landmark Fair Fabric Pact. A $2 billion fund for sustainable innovation. Breakthroughs in biodegradable and regenerative materials. Youth-led policy demands gaining traction. A fashion industry beginning to face its colonial and extractive legacy. But perhaps most importantly, it proved that change in fashion doesn't come from the runway. It comes from people, demanding, dreaming, and daring the industry to do better. If the most glamorous industry in the world can lead the fight for our planet, why can't every other one follow? Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.